Good morning.
Good morning, teacher.
Hello. So we are doing our writing lesson today, and we're looking at using different language in register.
Yeah.
So our aims and outcomes today. By the end of this session, you must understand what persuasive writing is. You should be able to use emotive language, use direct address, use rhetorical questions, use the rule of three, use hyperbole, and use repetition. You could use all of the above in concert on a regular basis. Persuasive techniques. So there are several persuasive techniques used by writers, and they're used to persuade the reader of their point of view. So emotive language, direct address, rhetorical questions, rule of three, hyperbole, and repetition. In your writing assessment, you might be asked to write articles, letters or emails to argue a point of view or to persuade the reader of your viewpoint. So knowing these techniques will help you to do that. So let's look at emotive language, which is when words are used deliberately in an attempt to make the reader feel a certain emotion. So we've got some example sentences. The Cheltenham Festival, which is held every March, is an event at which the racing industry parades in all its finery and receives uncritical, flattering coverage from sections of the media. In reality, it is a graveyard for horses. The high death toll and overuse of the whip make Cheltenham an event that for many embodies all that is unsavoury about commercial racing. So listening to that, what do you think the writer's viewpoint is? What does the writer think about the Cheltenham Festival? Do they have a positive view of the festival or a negative view?
Negative.
Yeah, it is negative. And what tells you that?
Embodies all that is unsavory and commercial rating. Okay, let's start from here. The high death toll and overuse of which make Cheltenham an event that for many. The death toll.
Good. So it's the second sentence, isn't it? The first one's is just a descriptive, just a description of the festival. But then in the second sentence, or the second paragraph, should I say, it's got that emotive language. Excuse me. It is a graveyard, high death toll, the whip, the unsavoury. It embodies all that is unsavoury. So the choice of words is done, the writer has chosen the words carefully to try and persuade the reader that to feel a certain emotion, to try and elicit that emotion from the reader. Okay, so I'm going to read this paragraph that you should be able to see on your screen, and I want you to think about what the emotive words are. If you really care about animals, the best way you can help is to stop eating them. Only by rejecting animal exploitation in all its forms, farming, slaughter, vivisection, entertainment, and so on, can we hope to end it. It is demand for these things that fuels the cruel industries behind them. So by ceasing to pay for the products of animal suffering, we can move closer to ending cruelty to animals. So what emotive words has the writer used? Or what words have they selected they've used to create that emotional response in the reader? So what, can you spot any words in that paragraph?
If you really care.
Pardon?
If you really care about animals.
I'm sorry, it's quite hard to hear. It sounds it's very muffled.
If you really care about animals.
Can you write it in the chat? Because I really can't hear you enough to I don't want to dismiss your point. I want to hear it clearly. Are you able to write it in the chat?
Yes.
Thank you.
She said is animals.
So it's about animals.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so good. If you really care. So good. Well done. Yeah, thank you. Anyone else? So I'm going to underline one, exploitation.
Mm-hmm.
Any other suggestions? So we can hope to end it. Okay.
Hope.
So if we
And
can
the demand.
at the passage,
Demand. Suffering.
So if you look at the passage and you or the paragraph, look at the adjectives, so the words that describe the nouns.
Suffering.
Yeah, so we've got suffering, well done.
Closer.
I wouldn't say closer is an emotive.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm just going to underline one more. We've got cruel.
Demand.
Okay, so if you have a look at this paragraph now, stop eating them, reject animal exploitation, the cruel industries, animal suffering, and ending cruelty. So well done, you spotted a lot of those. Any questions about emotive language? Okay, so now I want you to think about writing some yourself. You've been asked to write a leaflet for a charity that provides clean water in the developing world. Write 3 sentences. 1 that makes the reader feel guilty. 2 that makes the reader feel concerned. And 3 that persuades the reader to donate money. So, So we've actually got some examples here on the slide. So number 1, a sentence to make the reader feel guilty. No parent should be forced to give their child unsafe water. Could I just ask everyone to stay on mute unless you are answering a particular question or asking a question? Thank you. So a sentence that makes the reader feel guilty. No parent should be forced to give their child unsafe water.
Before.
Yeah.
Oh.
And number 2, a sentence that makes the reader feel concerned. So innocent babies have already died because of water-related illnesses.
Died.
So people will feel concerned there because babies are already dying. Okay. And number 3, that persuades the reader to donate money. Every drop saves lives, and we can't do this without your help. So the reader feels that it's important they get involved, that they donate money. And if they do that, they could stop innocent babies dying and stop parents having to give their child unsafe water. So you'll often see, if you ever see an advert for a charity, or either a printed one or on the television, then you will notice this emotive language that is used to try and get that response of people donating. Okay. Direct address. So this is when we use you or we in persuasive text, and it serves 3 purposes. So firstly, it builds a relationship with the reader. Secondly, it makes the reader feel involved and important. And finally, it makes it difficult for the reader to dismiss the text because the writer is speaking directly to you, so to the reader. So it makes you feel more involved. So we've got some sentences here, and to show the difference between impersonal and using direct address. So impersonal, everyone is concerned about pollution. With direct address, we are all concerned about pollution. So has anyone got any comments about the difference there between everyone is concerned about pollution to we are all concerned about pollution? So why is the writer using we instead of everyone? So why is the writer chosen to use we are all concerned rather than everyone is concerned?
Because it creates a strong bond and makes it harder for the reader.
Yeah, so it's creating that
nice
bond, that relationship with the reader, making them feel involved. Good. And the second example, the impersonal, sun exposure can cause skin damage. But using direct address, sun exposure can damage your skin. So how might what does the writer want the reader to feel by using direct address?
Makes it difficult for the reader to distinguish the text.
Yes, yeah, good. And where might what type of text might include that sentence, sun exposure can damage your skin?
Sorry, please come again.
Pardon?
Come again, please.
So that direct address sentence, sun exposure can damage your skin. What type of text might include that direct address? So the writer wants to involve the reader, make it difficult for them to dismiss it. So it could be an advert for sun cream, or possibly it could be a public information leaflet or advert, say, to prevent skin cancer. So either of those things might use that direct address because they're wanting to persuade the reader to take action, to either buy a sun cream or to use sun cream to stop sun damage. Okay, so we've got some sentences here, and I want you to change them by using direct address. So number 1, everyone needs to listen. So how could we rewrite that using direct address?
You need to listen.
Good. You need to listen. Second one, a visit to the castle will be interesting.
You will find a visit to the castle interesting.
Good. You will find a visit to the castle interesting. Your visit. Oh, something there. Your visit to the castle will be interesting. There's a few different ones we could have there, but yeah, you will find a visit to the castle interesting. Every visitor is welcome.
You are welcome as a visitor.
Yeah, or just you are welcome. Yeah, either of those. Well done. It is encouraged to give blood.
We encourage you to give blood.
Good. So we encourage you to give blood. Good. Okay. A rhetorical question is a question that doesn't require an answer. They are used to grab attention and make people think about something. So it's used for effect rather than an actual question that requires an answer. So often used again in advertising, particularly things like charities. So we've got an example here. How would you feel if you had no choice but to make your child drink unsafe water? 2.1 billion people worldwide lack safe drinking water at home. So that question, it makes people think, to question themselves rather than answering the question. So let's look at the table, and I want you to tell me if these are rhetorical questions that do not require an answer but make the reader think, or are they genuine questions or actual questions that require an answer? How long will the meeting last? Is that rhetorical or not rhetorical? So does that question, does the writer want a response, or do they just want to make other people think? How long will the meeting last?
They want to respond.
They want a response, don't they? Yes. So 6 o'clock or whatever it is. Oh, sorry, how long will it last? 2 hours, and so on. How would you feel if your street was full of rubbish?
There's no point.
Is that rhetorical or not rhetorical?
No.
Not good. Okay. How should I know? Rhetorical or not? So how should I know? It's a very common rhetorical question. We don't want an explanation of all the reasons why we should know. It's a rude response, really. Rhetorical question. Is it a bank holiday tomorrow? Rhetorical or not? So do we want a response to that question?
Yeah.
Yes.
Not rhetorical.
So it's not rhetorical. Well done. There is no point, is there?
Rhetorical.
Yeah, rhetorical. So, yeah, well done. So you could spot all of those. Well done. So now I want you to think of rhetorical questions for these situations. So the first, residents are not using the recycling options available. So what are the reasons that we need to recycle? What rhetorical question might be asked? Okay, let me show you the first one. So why do people recycle? Because we want to stop climate change. We want to stop using all the world's resources. So, rhetorical question: do you want our planet to survive? So we're thinking about the situation rather than just using those words to make a question. So we're thinking about that situation and what rhetorical question we might write in that situation. Pedestrians aren't crossing the road safely. So what rhetorical question could we write to grab people's attention, make them think? So what might happen if people aren't crossing the road safely? What could happen to them?
Accident.
An accident. So the rhetorical question could be based around that. Do you want to be in an accident? Do you want to get hurt? Does that make sense? Are you trying to hurt yourself? So similar there. So imagine a child's bedroom. It's always untidy. What might the parents say to them? So they are living in a big mess in their bedroom. What rhetorical question might their parent ask them?
Are you trying to harm yourself?
Pardon?
Are you trying to harm yourself?
Are you trying to harm yourself? Yeah, because it could be unhygienic. Yeah, good try, yeah. And possibly, do you like living in a pigsty? Do you like living in a mess? Yeah. Someone at work has made a mistake. So hopefully they would be treated with kindness and shown how not to make the mistake in future. But if someone was feeling angry at them because they'd made a mistake, what might they say to them? Okay, let's have a look. Did you think about what you were doing? Okay, any questions about rhetorical questions? Okay. The rule of three. So the rule of three is a technique where three words or points are made right after each other. So if we look at these examples, a Mars a day helps you work, rest and play. So work, rest and play. Stop, look and listen. So children learning about road safety, that rule of three, the rhythm of it, the not repetition, but the three words, easy to remember. So often used in public information or advertising. Stop, look, listen. Blood, sweat and tears. Friends, Romans, countrymen. Okay, so that's what the rule of three is. There's some examples. So using the rule of three, I want you to think of some sentences for these situations. So residents aren't using the recycling options available. So there's already a phrase, a rule of three phrase that is used by recycling charities and so on, or to encourage recycling. Can anyone think of what that is or think of their own? Residents aren't using the recycling options available. Okay, so if you you might come across this: reduce, reuse, recycle. Okay, so easy to remember for people. Pedestrians aren't crossing the road safely.
Look left, look right, look left again.
So look left, look right, look left again. Yep, that would be one. We've got another example as well. Stop, look and listen. Well done. A child's bedroom is always untidy.
Clean up, organize.
So clean up, organise. And let's think of one more. Can anyone else help?
Declutter.
Good. Clean up, organise, declutter. So similar here. Clean it, bin it, put it away. Well done. Someone at work has made a mistake. So how could they, what advice could we give them so they don't make a mistake in the future? So the rule of three.
Acknowledge, learn, improve.
Yeah, good. And then we've got another example here. Ask, check and check again. Good, well done. So hyperbole. So hyperbole is a word to describe, or a word for exaggeration in writing. Hyperbole. And this is a technique where exaggeration is used to create a strong effect. So the origins of the word are that hyper means over, and bowl, or we say hyperbole, means to throw. So it's throwing things too far, taking things a little too far. So it's over exaggeration, more than just exaggeration. It's like an extreme example. So let's look at these example sentences and think about what they actually mean. If I hear that one more time, I'm going to move to Mars. So is the person actually going to move to Mars?
No, it
No.
means that the person is extremely annoyed. I want to
Yeah.
escape the situation.
Yes, so they're really annoyed, and if they hear it again, they're going to remove themselves from that situation. They're going to go away somewhere. Good. I'd rather kiss a toad than miss my dance class. So would the person actually want to kiss a toad?
No,
No. So they
wouldn't want to meet the dance.
yeah, so it means they don't want to miss the dance
Yes,
class.
they
They'd
don't
rather
want
do something that's really horrible than miss the dance class. She has 1 million pairs of shoes.
It means that the person is saying she has a lot of shoes, way
Good.
more
Yeah,
than a typical person would have.
yeah, there's lots of shoes. That's something we often hear a lot. When there's a lot of something, people say, "Oh, there's millions." How many people were there? Oh, millions. Okay, so it's something we hear a lot, that hyperbole, using the word million to mean a lot. I'm dying of shame.
The person is extremely embarrassed.
Yeah, they're
feeling
really embarrassed. They're
shame.
feeling shameful. Good, well done. So we've got some more examples here. So what do these sentences mean? Everyone knows that.
The public opinion, a public issue.
Yeah, so generally people would know it. It's common knowledge. Good. I have been to that restaurant 1 million times.
Over and over again.
It means the person
yeah,
has
over and over again.
many times, yeah.
Yeah, they've been there a lot. Good. Tim was dying to start his new job.
Extremely eager.
Yeah, he's
Excited.
excellent. Yeah, he's very eager. Good. He's looking forward to it. Well done. The day dragged on like an eternity.
Never ending.
Yeah, it feels never. I'm sure we've all had days like that, haven't we? Where
Yeah.
it feels like an eternity. It's never ending. Good. Well done. Right, let's move on to repetition. And this is a technique where words are repeated to stick in the reader's memory. It helps reinforce the writer's point. Which word is repeated here? Lack of access to water is the harsh reality for millions worldwide. Every day, millions of women and girls walk for miles on end just to fetch and carry water, creating a cycle of inequality. So, water. So water is repeated. So it's such a simple thing, water. And in the UK and many other countries, it is you know, we have such easy access to it, so that simple thing will stick in people's memory. Repetition is also often used in speeches, and we've got some examples of a couple of famous speeches here, political speeches. So the first by Winston Churchill: "We shall fight on the beaches, we shall fight on the landing grounds, we shall fight on the fields and in the streets, we shall fight in the hills, we shall never surrender." So what's the repetition there?
Hi.
Good. So it's talking about the army fighting in the war. Good. Martin Luther King: "I have a dream. is repeated in 8 successive sentences in his iconic speech, which I'm sure most people are familiar with. Several other phrases were also repeated, including "Let freedom ring" and "Now is the time." So that repetition often used by politicians and obviously Martin Luther King, a civil rights activist, often used in important public speeches, and then people will take that message away with them because it helps, as I started with, it helps it to stick in the reader, or in the terms of a speech, the listener's memory. So think of a sentence using repetition for the following: an article supporting the development of a new leisure centre. So why would we want a new leisure centre? So if you went to why would you go to a leisure centre? What would your aim be?
To rest and have fun.
To have fun and
Rest.
so if you go to a leisure centre, you're gonna exercise, have fun. What else?
Grab something to eat.
Pardon?
Grab something to eat.
You could have something to eat as well. So there might be a cafe. So let's have a look at this one. So focus on health. Healthy people make healthy choices. Okay, so repeating that word, health. So then the leisure centre will stick in the reader's mind as a place to get healthy, and hopefully they will want to develop that leisure centre. Okay, a letter arguing against the closure of a library. Let's have a look. We need books for leisure, books for learning, books for reference. So that repetition of books, 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 to stress how important they are, and again, will stick in people's minds. An email persuading a friend to join you in a charity challenge. Okay, so that repetition there, fun, fun, fun. I promise you it will be fun, fun, fun. Okay, any questions about repetition? Okay, so let's look at our quiz to finish. What is the rule of 3? Excessive exaggeration, a question that doesn't need an answer, language to elicit an emotional response, or putting words or phrases together to make them stand out.
D.
Good. Well done. Why are rhetorical questions used? To grab attention or make the reader think, to make the reader feel a particular emotion, to make the reader feel they are involved, or to find out what the reader already knows.
A.
A, good. So to grab attention and make the reader think. So it's more like making the reader question themselves rather than give an answer to the question. The topic sentence in a paragraph, this is not something we've covered today, I'm going to skip that one. So what is an example of hyperbole? Don't you agree? It's all about cuts, cuts, cut. My feet are killing me. The unruly mob terrified the onlookers. So remember, hyperbole is over-exaggerating.
C.
C, good. My feet are killing me. Emotive language deliberately tries to make the reader question themselves, feel directly involved, realise why something is important, or feel a certain way.
C.
Did you say
Feel a certain way.
pardon?
D.
D, good. Feel a certain way. Well done. Okay, so we've come to the end of our session today. Does anyone have any questions? I'm just going to mute everyone, but just unmute if you want to ask a question. Okay, so some of those techniques a bit tricky today. You can go, if you log on to, if you ask for a login for the online learning platform, so if you contact the office tomorrow, then you, if you don't already have a login, then there are some exercises you can do to practice, to consolidate what we've done today. You can also practice functional skills using the BBC Bite-Size website. So if you Google BBC Bite-Size functional skills, then there is some additional information on there that is helpful, some people find. So yes, we're finished for today. So thank you everyone for your contributions, and I hope you all have a good day.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Good day. Bye.